what I'll end up doing is I'll go into adding just a little oil. Oil will raise the burning temperature, so it'll allow it to get hotter without it actually burning. So we're just going to let this on a low simmer, kind of melt down, and I'm going to add some fresh garlic. Maybe I like a lot of garlic, so I'm almost going to do almost a tablespoon.
Chef, you got a fistful of garlic there.
Always. And I'm just going to kind of let that get started. I'm going to let the garlic kind of sweat and unleash some of its flavors out. And then from there, I'm going to get everything else ready. I've been doing this a while, so getting all of the ingredients as I go, since I'm in the kitchen that's ready. Do the old term mise en place, so French meaning, you know, just getting everything pre-ready in front of you. Because this is one of those dishes that can take off and burn on you, and it's the last thing that you're going to want to have happen.
Yeah, once you go to the skillet with it, it's a fast dish.
Yes, very much so. So we're going to go from here. I've got the butter working with a little bit of the garlic. I like to wait till when it starts to kind of make a popping noise. Even if the butter's not all the way melted, that's okay. Because you don't want it to burn, because the outsides can still burn. So from here,
got some capers there.
Capers. I'm just going to do kind of about a tablespoon, give or take. You don't have to have capers. Not everybody's a fan of capers, but in traditional piccatas, you definitely would have that in there. From there, now that we've got all the oil and the capers started, I'm going to start adding a little bit of the mushrooms. Get carried away, but you don't want to get too carried away with it. That if you put too much, you're going to have an entree that's so unbelievably huge that you're going to have a whole other meal later. So beware of how much you're putting in, because you are going to still be adding pasta and another possibly 5 to 6 ounces of chicken. I'm going to go ahead and turn it from 2 o'clock over to 7 o'clock, we'll say, to start getting the grill marks so the chicken doesn't burn. So now we've got everything cut in the work, the garlic, the mushrooms, the artichokes. We're going to add a little bit of salt.
And those are canned artichokes, right?
Yes, cans, you know, cans the easiest. Find some that are maybe soaked in an oil. They're going to be a little bit softer and not so grainy. You just add a couple tosses and just let that cook. Just kind of sweat, reduce, work the way down. The next couple steps that we'll be adding is a white wine. And you can, I'm going to do 2 different ways you can do it. You can add it into like a boiling water and pull it out like a lot of restaurants will do, just to get that al dente pasta cooked up a little bit. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add the white wine and put a little bit of extra white wine, so that oil, the white wine, and all that is going to be sucked into that pasta. So it's almost going to kind of become its own natural glue. Kind of what they use with simple syrup when you make shakes. It's a natural glue.
And what shape of pasta are we going to use for this?
Today we're going to do an angel hair. Any forms will work. Generally you'll see a noodle style pasta, and in this case we're going to do the angel hair.
Usually the more delicate the sauce, the smaller the pasta.
Exactly, the pasta. And you also got to keep in mind, the quicker the pasta will heat up, so the more dense it's going to be, the longer it's going to take. And is that going to work good with your other ingredients without burning them? So I'm going to start adding the lemon. You can add 1/2 of a lemon. I generally like to do 2. I mean, if you're going to put lemon, if you're going to put something in there, always go big or go home. This is usually about the step I like to toss in a little bit of parsley, and that's just going to bring the color. Artichokes, mushrooms have a little bit of dull color. No, let's say you forgot something. Mise en place. Let's get back into that. I forgot to put the onions in.
Okay.
I already have them small diced, so it'll be okay. So I'm going to run over real quick. I'm going to take in a little bit of yellow onion or red onion. In this case, we have a red onion. And that'll be okay. And that'll still, in time with the white wine, it'll still work its way out.
It'll cook down real quick.
Yeah, it just has to be a finer cut. The smaller the cut, the faster it's going to cook. And you want to make sure all your cuts and all your vegetables and everything is at the same size, because if it's not the same, the thicker ones won't be cooked, the smaller ones might get burned, so you want it to evenly cook at the same time. So right now we've got all that kind of going. I can tell that the onion is starting to sweat, so it's already starting to cook. Everything else is almost about there. We're going to kind of reach over. And I'm going to reach over and we have our angel hair pasta. This is the time when you deglaze a pan with white wine. What I'm doing with deglaze is I'm taking all the essences that stick to the side of the pan and actually bring that back in. And this is where I'm starting to finish up my piccata sauce.
All that flavor stuck to the bottom of the pan, you're trying to bring it up right now.
Exactly. I'm now on my 3rd turn, going back over to 2 o'clock with my chicken breast, and I'll take it back over to about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So.
And it'll be done at that point, right?
Yep. And then so right now we're deglazing the pan. It might flame up, which is okay. You want a lot of that to cook out. And this is the time that I'm going to add the pasta. I'm going to separate it up if it's already. And you want to use a par cooked pasta. And I'm going to give it a few tosses. You can either take another same size saute pan, a plate, like a metal plate or something, and put that right over the top. What you're doing is you're making all that evaporation kind of kick back in and make that cooking get hot. And what we're working on is bringing that pasta temperature back up and making it grab all those essences and suck it in without letting it escape. We're going to let all that reduce, which will bring out a lot more of the strong flavors of the sauce. And then from there, to finish it up, I'm going to take some fresh Parmigiano Reggiano, and that'll bind it together. And that keeps it all strong together. You don't have to. You can do without, but that's just kind of how we do it here at work.
And again, with the piccata, this is a, you know, as long as you got the lemon and the butter and the olive oil and the garlic in there, this is a recipe you can really play around with. Yeah,
and just put things that you enjoy. Let's say you like red bell pepper. That's kind of going a whole different direction. But you can add a roasted bell pepper to it. You just do something a little bit different. You can maybe do everything that we've done so far and take the capers out and just leave the bell pepper. Kind of give it a Spanish twist to it, maybe a Latin twist if you want.
And of course, this is a dish that's also made with veal, and you could, like you said, you could do it with any kind of seafood as well.
Yeah, you generally see a lot of like fresh whitefish would be generally what you'll see, like a piccata. You could even do like a tilapia. Everybody loves salmon. You know, every time we have salmon on the menu, it just never stays. It just keeps going. But you can do cedar planks and different things like that. But you can apply it to your. Just always work with stuff that you're comfortable with, things that you're familiar, that you like. And that's pretty much my whole recommendation there.
Time to plate it up?
Yeah, we're about almost there. We're kind of almost at the finished product for that. I'm going to take the lid off. Now I'm going to let it kind of reduce a little bit from there. I'm going to give this chicken one more turn. And don't think that you have to finish this chicken on the grill. What makes it easier to cook evenly, make sure you pound it first. If you're in your kitchen, you don't want chicken juices kind of going everywhere. What we tend to do is we'll just put it in a 1 gallon Ziploc bag. You can fit usually 3 chicken breasts. If you don't have them out at home, a back of a saute pan works. There's a lot of different things that you can do with that. Where we're at here is I'm going to kind of bind it together. I don't need to, it looks like. It looks like it reduced and it's holding itself together well. But I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano, and I'm going to kind of mix that up. That's going to start bringing everything together. It's going to add a little bit more of the natural flavors. And that's pretty much about all that I have, other than just starting to plate it. That's where we're at now. So I'm going to kind of twist it up into a ball to my best ability.
Yeah, watch this technique, folks, because this is one way to really make pasta look nice on the plate.
And what I'm doing is I'm pulling all of the sauces are inside the pasta. But what I'm trying to do is separate a lot of the toppings that we're going to make over the chicken. And then we're going to top it off with parsley and Parmesan cheese. It's going to have some pasta, but when you get that Parmesan, it kind of hides that little bit. But you have all the even flavors, so every bite will be the same. So we're gonna, at the end of the chicken, we're going to double check just to make sure it's cooked. Didn't have to put it in the oven this time. This one worked out really well.
Sweet.
We're going to put the tail side down or tail side up, whichever way. And then nice grill marks. And you'll just top it over the top with all of the artichokes. There will be a little bit of pasta. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're real worried about the presentation or how that looks, obviously you would just leave the pasta separate. Maybe a little bit of butter, garlic, kind of get that by itself. Put this over the top. We're going to finish this off. One last thing. Parsley and just a little bit of Parmesan. And like I said, that Parmesan is going to cover it. You want to definitely put the parsley roughly 12 inches or something above the plate. Let it naturally fall. It'll fall right where it needs to. If you get close, it's going to fall in clumps, and it's just not going to look right. And that's pretty much it. Chicken piccata.
Chef Chris Grover's Chicken Piccata at Gina and Giuseppe's, and we'll be back on OK Foodie on AM 740 and FM 102.3 News Talk KRMG.